Welcome to today's webinar with Isaac Snacks. I am Layla, one of the campaign managers here at Birchal. And just before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land I'm based on today. Birchal is based on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Birchal is working with Isaac Snacks on a crowdsourced funding offer. The information and discussion in this webinar is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as advice or as a recommendation to invest. Please always consider the offer document and the general CSF risk warning before investing. Everything's going to be available on the website. Now, how today's session is going to run. Laura is going to take us through a presentation of the business. It's going to take around 30 minutes, Laura?
Yeah, something like that, 20 minutes, yeah.
Awesome. We'll learn everything about the business, plans for the future, and then we're going to switch to a Q&A session. If you look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you can see a little Q&A bubble. If you have a question during today's sessions, please pop it in the box and we're going to answer at the end. If this is your first time investing and you have any questions about Birchal as well, please let me know and I'll do my best to answer. Lastly, we are recording this session, so if you have to jump off early, a recording will be sent around. That's it from me. I'm very happy to introduce you to Laura, the incredible founder of Isaac Snacks.
Thank you, Layla. Thanks so much. And thank you to everyone who's joining today. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you a little bit about Isaac Snacks and the journey that we've had so far, and also where we're going to be going and why we're raising money this time. So I'm going to just share with you my presentation, and then we can run through that. Here we go.
Perfect.
Great. So as I said, great to be here today, and it's been wonderful speaking to so many of you over the last couple of weeks. I think what's been so amazing is to find the alignment with a lot of you in terms of your concerns around the kids snack category, and also our ambitions and values in terms of bringing healthier options to the table and changing the eating habits of our children for the future, which we see is so important, and also a massive trend that's going to be happening in the next couple of years. So I'll start by talking a little bit about where I began and why I began. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Laura Allen, and I started the business just about nearly 4 years ago now, just under 4 years ago now. This was me 4 years ago in my little kitchen in Melbourne. I'd actually been on maternity leave with my first son, Isaac. And I was going back to work. I was working as a buyer at Mecca at the time. And I've been doing lots of baking with him in the kitchen when I was on maternity leave. And then when it was time to go back to work, I obviously had less time. I was looking for some snacks in the supermarkets that were really similar to the cookies and the biscuits, you know, and the cakes that we've been baking at home. And I really struggled. I just couldn't find anything. It was either high sugar, there was additives, there were things that I just didn't understand. And so, you know, being a kind of sales and marketing expert, I thought I can create something better. And so that's where I started. You can see me here. I look pretty tired, and I think I was working full time at the time. I had a small child, but I was also making the snacks. And this is the first Isaac Snacks packaging. So I'd package them up, and then on weekends and on any spare time I'd go to health food stores and I'd pitch the product to them and get it stocked in the stores. And then here's another one of me in our spare room, so packing up parcels for stores and also for PR, so really kind of building it from the ground up. And then this is me pregnant with actually my second son, where we would pack up the car with boxes and deliver them directly to stores. So yeah, so really kind of like, you know, grassroots, building it as much as possible at the start. We're just going and meeting customers and meeting stores. And then this is obviously the beginning of the happy ending, which happened in December, where we were spotted by Woolworths, and we actually gained ranging in 900 stores. So that's over 80% of their store network. And I'll again talk a little bit more through that and our plans for the future. But super exciting to have got to this point now with all the hard work and where we began. But I'll talk a little bit more at this point around the problem. So we do see the core problem as there is a really alarming rate of obesity within young adults, within children in Australia. So nearly 50%, nearly half of all young adults are now obese. And all the research shows that it's rooted in poor eating habits that begin in childhood, so from the start. There was also a study that was done last year by the Victoria Cancer Council, and that showed that 2/3 of foods that are sold to children don't actually meet international nutrition recommendations. So it's high salt, high sugar, and damaging preservatives and artificial ingredients. And often it's not actually parents' fault, because as you can see here, there's often products that are created for children. They actually say that they're for kids. They have a cartoon character on, and you know, I think parents are believing that they're actually suitable for their children, but they have very high sugar, very extreme salt levels. There's no nutrition in them, and actually often if it says low sugar, there's damaging artificial sweeteners, which children should definitely not be eating. So there's this real lack of clarity, lack of trust from parents in terms of what they're buying, and things that are marketed to children that they believe are good for them but actually are really not. And sometimes it can even flip the other way, where some of these products, and particularly the mass-produced products, they actually have addictive ingredients in them where they're purposely targeted for children to eat more of them, because it's obviously, you know, it's a high volume business, a high, you know, the high margin, high volume. So they actually want children to be consuming more of these. So what's the solution? Well, Isaac Snacks was created to be the solution. So we are a range of better, healthier, and more sustainable snack choices for kids. We have a really simple motto in that we want our snacks to be for the whole family. So they're not just healthy snacks for kids, but we believe that where we serve our children the same meal as us at night time, we should also be eating the same snacks as us. So I wouldn't eat something that was covered in sprinkles and had unicorns on it. So, you know, I want to serve my child a snack that I would eat as well. So our snacks are Australian made, so they're all made in Melbourne. And they have absolutely no nasties, no artificial ingredients, no preservatives. We don't use any refined sugar. We do use natural sugars because we understand that children do want a level of sweetness. So we use rice malt syrup and maple syrup. We also have everything conveniently packaged for on the go or for lunch boxes. We're in quite a unique space where we don't use any nuts and we don't use any dairy. So we're also lunchbox friendly, which a lot of snacks within this space cannot claim. And a really important one is that all our snacks contain 10 or less whole foods and all products that you'll find in your kitchen. And if actually you've not seen a packet of our snacks yet, what we actually do is we have our ingredients in picture format. So there's no numbers on there. There's no ingredients that you don't understand. We actually put pictures so you can see and understand that if you went to your kitchen, then you'd be able to see the oats, the chia, the flaxseed. So they're really like homemade snacks, but ready to go. And this is our motto. If you can't pronounce it, then don't eat it. And who's our customer? Well, our customer is actually quite broad. So we have people without children that are buying them. You know, I've had sort of actually elderly people that love them, you know, love the kind of nutritious and the simple element. But our core customer is this modern mum, I guess, as I was when I first started this. So it's women that are aged 25 to 45 usually. They're usually working. They have children that are sort of 2 years to sort of 8 is our core range. And they're constantly on the lookout for better, healthier snacks. And they're really juggling parenting. So they're wanting to give better choices, but they also need convenience as well. So that's our core customer that we're supplying to. And what is the opportunity? Well, we know that the lunchbox snack market in Australia, just Australia, is valued at $4 billion. And we know globally that the kids snack market is worth approximately $90 billion. So it's a huge market. There's huge volume within there. And there's actually a really limited amount of good choice. There's not that many snacks on the market that are super transparent and healthy, and that customers are buying on, you know, en masse within that category. So, and we also know that parents are willing to pay more for these snacks as well. So all our customers, all the customer survey that we've done shows that they're wanting better snacks within this segment and that they're willing to pay a premium to get something with better ingredients. So in terms of the lunchbox market, I'm a lunchbox mum myself. So Isaac is now 7 years old. So I make a lunchbox every single day for him. We know that 90% of Australia's school children are bringing in a packed lunch to school, and we also know that 40% of a child's daily energy intake is during those school hours. So what we're putting in our kids' lunchbox matters. And actually being able to access plant-based snacks that are nut-free and dairy-free is actually really difficult. We are really unique within that space. And we know that parents are looking for variety. So I know I produce a lunchbox every single day. I'm constantly looking for newness and different things to put in the lunchbox for Isaac. And so we know that the parents are looking for variety, but they're looking for better, healthier options that we know that they know are not just a gap filler, but actually providing a nutritious energy boost for their children during the day. There's also this after school snack area as well. So anyone that's picked a child up from school knows that they're always absolutely starving. And we also actually know from a key study that 20% of a child's average daily calorie intake is actually during that hour after school. So that's when there's actually the tendency to give them something that's very high sugar, just kind of quieten them down after school. But actually a way better option is to give them something like Isaac Snacks, which actually has a healthy, nutritious, balanced snack that's not going to kind of fill them up before dinner, but it's just going to be a great stopgap for them. So we're really kind of unique within this kind of lunchbox and after school snack market, and that's what we're really playing on, not just in Woolworths, but in all our communications and all our branding and community building as well. So if you've not seen our range, this is it. It's actually divided into two sections. So we have our boxes. These are our multi-packs. They're in a varying format, but they're either in 4 little bags or 5 little bags. So they're individual portions. They're all 8 ingredients or less. So one is 7 ingredients, 6 ingredients, and 8 ingredients. And the variety of biscuits, and also our Fruity Cutie Bite is our small muesli bars. And they're all packed with oats, fruit, vitamins, antioxidants, all the natural products that a child needs to give them a great energy boost. And then our bars are slightly bigger products. So this is our bars. We have 3 of these, and these are a 50-gram bar. Again, super clean, delicious snack. They're for children. We also do find actually in a lot of our stores, this is in the impulse section. So actually it's a great opportunity for us not just to be sitting in the kids section, but we often get within the bar section, and it's kind of a great on-the-go snack. And we're also looking at putting this into pharmacies as well. So it's a great opportunity to be in a completely different channel, great for convenience as well. So this gives us a real opportunity to actually sit in a different section, and is not just for little ones, but for grown-ups as well. And we have 3 different varieties there. You can see the ingredients are really just oats and fruit, and 10 ingredients or less across the 3 different varieties. So this is what I was talking about a little bit before in terms of the lunchbox snack market, and we are really filling an unmet need because our snacks are not just whole food and plant-based, but they're also allergen-free. So you'll see there in the bottom right-hand corner, these are a lot of the kind of popular snacks that, they're very high sugar, very high salt, very high artificial ingredients. They usually don't have any allergens in them. They don't have any whole foods in them at all. But they are kind of in that lunchbox friendly. They're usually in a lower price point as well, a kind of high volume snacks. Then we do have our more plant-based options, which is a slightly lower on sugar and salt, but they do usually contain allergens. So you get very few Carmen's muesli bars that don't have. I have a nut allergy, so I do know that you can really not get a Carmen's bar that doesn't have nuts in it. Then we do have some great plant-based options. So you have things like the Bliss Balls, you have those Munch Me snacks, Health Labs. But again, 95% of these snacks have nuts in them or dairy. So cannot actually be certified as lunchbox friendly. And then we're here sitting in a really unique space with only a couple of other brands, Happy Snack Company being one of them, where we are plant-based, but also we are lunchbox friendly. And I just wanted to insert here a picture of Isaac. So this is baby Isaac 4 years ago, helped me with the baking. And this is Isaac. This is school lunchbox Isaac now on the shelves of Woolworths. So this journey has been amazing, and it's taking us from the kitchen now to we are serving around 8,000 customers on the shelves of Woolworths stores, and we are really starting to create change. And we do believe in that creating healthy eating habits from the start is really, really important, and that there just are not enough options out there. And we believe that it is a trend that is going to be changing. So I just wanted to talk a little bit now about the current revenue streams. So these are the core retailers that we're in at the moment. So really independent grocers and Woolworths are our key distribution channels at the moment in terms of retail. Retail is 80% of our business currently. We've done around $200,000 of sales in the last 6 months. And that actually only counts for 4 months of Woolworths sales. So it's not an annualized year of Woolworths sales. But it is, that significant part of our business. We're in over 1,100 stores. We are stocked, like I said earlier, in 82% of Woolworths stores. So it's a really healthy distribution. We do actually have the Woolworths range review, which is going to be coming up in a few weeks' time. And we are going to be putting forward some new products as well. They are really interested in expanding with us. Like everything that I've said, we're so unique within the category, and they really see this as a key area for them to grow. And they've identified healthy lunchbox as the KPI for their range review, as it was last time. And our growth has been from the quarter just gone to the quarter before, nearly 80% growth year on year. And then I haven't really spoken about e-commerce. So we actually launched our Shopify website actually just the start of last year. So we haven't been trading very long, but we've actually seen some amazing traction on very limited budget. And we see this as a second area of growth. So we're turning over about $10,000 of sales a month, around 170 customers. Our ad spend is actually really low. There's been quite a lot of resource needed to launch into Woolworths, as you can imagine. And a large part of this raise is supporting not only our expansion within the major grocers, but also releasing some money to invest into e-commerce, which we know is a huge growth channel for us. And we know that because actually our cost per acquisition is super low. So to achieve $10,000 of sales a month on, around $1,000 of spend is a really good result. So we're seeing our CPA around kind of, somewhere between $7 to $10 a month. And so we see if we can just increase that ad spend, that our sales will automatically increase, and amazing ROAS as well. So we know that customers are looking for our brands like ours, products like ours online, and there just are not that many of them. So our customers order usually around once a month. We have a great repeat customer rate, and our average order value is somewhere around $60. And our conversion is great as well. So we have around a 3 to 4% conversion rate, so significantly above the industry average. So where do we go from here? So our goal is to be the #1 whole food snack brand in Australia. We believe that we can do that. And as everything that I've said and all the traction that we've had today and how quickly that we've grown, and we've been picked up by the biggest supermarket in Australia, we believe that we can meet that, and that we are first to market with something that is going to be a great trend for the next couple of years. And customers we know are looking for our brand and are buying it on repeat. So we want to use your funds to accelerate towards this goal. And there's 3 particular areas that we want to grow in that we'll be using the funds from this raise towards. So focus 1 is that footprint within retailers throughout Australia. So we want to be as accessible as as Tiny Teddies. We want to be as accessible as Carmen's. We want to be a lunchbox brand that you can pick up in any major grocery store across the whole of Australia. And we also want to be available in on-the-go destinations, whether that be convenience, whether it be when you're at the zoo with your child, if you're at a museum with your child. We want you to be able to, at a soft play centre, it's always terrible snack options. I don't know why there's not better snack options at soft play, but we want to be there on the counter. You can still keep your, baby chino and your chocolate bar, but we want to be there alongside those options to give parents those better options that just are not available at the moment. So not just within grocery stores, but also within that the health food stores, and also that convenience and on the go. So a significant proportion of the the funds raised from this crowdfunding campaign will be going towards increasing that footprint, the funds that are needed to roll out to grocery stores, and also the resource that's needed to access the other channels as well. That will be the main focus of the money. And then our secondary focus is really around the online piece. So as I said before, we're seeing amazing traction in terms of customers picking up. Our ads are working, with such little spends, our ads are working so well. And customers are looking for our brand, they're looking for these products, they want it and they can't find it. So not only do we want to become more accessible in stores, we want to become more accessible online as well. So really scaling online and also driving loyalty. So we have dabbled a little bit in subscription and seen a great uptake. But again, part of these funds is going to be around really designing out what that subscription offer is going to look like, and being able to execute that as well in a really great way, which has an amazing offer and amazing service to our loyal customers. So that's really going to be around the brand activity, brand awareness, building community and building loyalty through the website. So that will be the secondary use of funds after increasing our retail footprint within Australia. And then thirdly, is to enter global markets. So we've had so much interest to expand outside of Australia. We still feel like there's so much to do in Australia. So that's our primary focus, is really to get in as many stores and scale our online here. So really dominate within that whole food snack category here. But I think as a kind of third area, we have had a lot of interest from New Zealand, and that's quite an easy one for us to roll out to, and also to different countries in Asia have been super interested, and also the US as well. I'm not quite sure the US will be as part of this raise, but it's something we've already started looking at, and we see global markets as being a really exciting areas for us to expand into in the next 12 to 18 months. So who's the team? So you've heard a little bit about me. I am the kind of chief driver of Isaac Snacks. As I mentioned earlier, my background is within consumer goods. So I've worked within sales, consumer sales, for the last 14 years. I started at Coty, and then I had management roles at L'Oreal and Revlon. So I really have a great understanding of that consumer goods space. And I think also a great benefit for the company is that I have a really solid expertise in terms of managing retailers. So a lot of people said, how did you get into Woolworths? And, I think the advantage is that I had 14 years of working with grocery channels. So I'm very comfortable in terms of navigating a pitch to retailers, managing the range review process. And I have a great range of contacts as well. So that's, I guess, of a huge advantage to the company, and has really helped me accelerate and gain that ranging very, very quickly, that most brands just would not be able to do. My husband Scott is another director within the business, so he has his own business around software implementation, and he is a great strategic partner in the business. He's very skilled in terms of strategy and analysis, and also building partnerships and project management, so he really supports from that kind of strategic higher level. And then in terms of our core team, we have an amazing marketing director, Leah. She is a great brand expert, and she has real expertise, particularly within the digital marketing space. And she will be really taking on the project around scaling our online business, accelerating that business and building community, and is an amazing asset to the business. We also have a graphic designer, Liz, who literally built the brand with me from the start. She's done all the packaging design, all the branding, and has a great grasp on the brand ethos, the values, and the brand communications. We also have Tina, who manages our finance, and then I have a mentor within the business as well, Mike, who has a great knowledge of business and had his own business which he sold, and is, you know, gives great advice for the company. And I guess this is just a final slide. So I would absolutely love for you to join as an Isaac Snacks investor. We have some amazing plans for growth, and I feel like we are just at the beginning of the journey for what this brand can be. As everything that I've talked about, we are, I think, the first to market with a trend which is going to be hugely accelerating. We have the retailers who are so interested in the brand, and we're seeing some amazing growth in that space. We've got new products coming, we've got new retailers, and we are determined to change the way that our kids are snacking and the way that we're looking at food. Not just as something that fills our children up, not just as having a fussy eater, but actually as food which is affecting their mental well-being, their gut, their development, the way that they're going to eat for the rest of their lives, and helping them make better choices for the future. And so we hope to have you on board with us on this journey.
Thank you, Laura. This was so good. We got a few questions here already. Yeah, but thank you so much for sharing the journey with us. I'm curious to know a little bit more about your journey. You mentioned a very successful career before, quite senior roles in big companies. How was to make the move from having the security of a corporate job to starting your own business? Did you kind of start part-time on Isaac Snacks, kind of as a side job, and then you transitioned after you got some market validation?
Yes, that was exactly it. Yeah. So I think I was just very naive at the start, that I just sort of thought, oh, you know, this will be easy, and I have all these contacts with the industry, so I'll be able to just make a product, and then, you know, it'll immediately be able to get on shelves. And obviously it wasn't as easy as that, and it's definitely been a journey, an amazing journey. But yeah, I continued working full time, and then 4 days a week over really the whole time. I've gone full time into the business as of the end of last year. So I guess it was sort of the launch into Woolworths has been kind of a real changing point, you know, tipping point for the business, where prior, I wouldn't say it was a kind of side hustle or a hobby, but I think you're right in terms of market validation and understanding that this is going to get the traction and the acceleration that I wanted from the beginning. And I think, you know, the ranging in Woolworths has made a shift in terms of the resource, the time that's needed, and also the money in the business, which is a big part of doing this raise. But I think I absolutely love running the business. I mean, I've worked on some amazing brands, and the experience that I've got within those brands, you know, it has been amazing. But I think, you know, I also started this brand because I wanted to do something different, not just in the products, but also in the way that we're running the business. You know, I've worked in lots of different cultures before, and I, you know, I want this company is doing better, and for the future will do just, you know, in flexible working, and I'll give back everything, you know, being able to build that as well as the company grows is so exciting. And I feel so fortunate that I'm able to do that now as a business owner.
That's an amazing point, incrementing this culture and implementing what you believe into your business. That's awesome.
Sure. And I think, you know, taking where you've worked before, and, you know, whether it's toxic culture or, you know, sort of products that you don't believe in being launched, I think, you know, to have the opportunity to be able to set something, you know, and go on a journey with investors, with employees, and build something that we all believe in, I think is amazing.
Awesome. Are we ready for the Q&A?
Yeah.
Oh, first question. What are some of the new products that you'd like to introduce?
Yes, great question. So we are looking, so actually the savory area has been a little bit difficult for us. We've actually often had customers asking for savory snacks. And we did launch with a seedy cracker. That was actually one of the first products that I launched. So a seed-based cracker, and it didn't do very well. So, but we do see the savory space as being a great opportunity for us. We don't just want to be known for sweet snacks. The savory space, you know, is a huge opportunity to create something again that's whole food and plant-based, and is not just, there's a lot of savory snacks for kids that are just, it's just like eating paper, really. And so, you know, we really want to expand within that savory space. So we're developing a couple of really exciting ideas at the moment to have those savory options, but that have an additional nutrition element to it. So we're working with a food technician at the moment on that area. And then we also are looking at another biscuit as well. So we do find that our cookies sell really well, because I think, you know, even though savory is important, you know, I think having sweet snacks that are, you know, healthier, lower in sugar, plant-based. So we're also looking at another cookie as well. But I think actually the great opportunity with the raising the money and getting investors on board who are part of the community is actually hearing what products that they want. So that's kind of the immediate plan. But I think, you know, we'll be quickly reaching out to see what products our investors would like to see, and get, you know, getting some input in the development. Because as a small business, actually, we can, and we have a great team in terms of our manufacturers and the food technician that we work with. So we can actually be very agile in terms of what products we're developing. So it's constantly moving. We have a couple of concrete things that are likely to be coming out, but I think we would love some feedback over the next kind of few months in terms of what people really want to see.
That's a really good question. I was wondering the same. So you probably get some data insights, and then you go, this is probably something that you should be having a look at. And then do you give to your kids to test? Do you give to little Isaac?
Yes, so I have a fussy, so you know, not fussy, but he, you know, he's a better judge, and then I have a younger one who'll just eat anything. So Isaac's actually the better judge, because he's definitely more, you know, of a typical sort of child. So I do some testing with him, but we do a lot of product testing. So we really we reach out to our community. We've done that before, where we've sampled. We do it with friends and family. So
Yeah.
we do quite a lot of product testing before we release something.
And the idea now is to bring investors into this journey so they can test before it goes to market.
Yes, which is something that we've done before with our community. But I think the point of this exercise is to get a really invested community, you know, and get their feedback, I think is amazing. So yes, there will be a process where we'll be firstly probably validating ideas, and then sending out samples to test in terms of the new products, which is so exciting.
Yeah, we got a question around the same idea. Would you allow potential investors to visit your production factory?
Yes, great question. I love that. I don't think I've had that before. Yes, of course. I mean, I think we have two family-run manufacturers in Melbourne. They're both based in Melbourne, and one of them we've worked. I literally produced the first jammy bite, like on scale. So I've worked with them for like 4 years, and they're amazing partners, and they're so just invested and supportive in the business. So I feel really lucky. And then one is a slightly newer partner. They do the single bars for me. But again, both very, very supportive of the business and of what we're doing and of myself. So yeah, I would definitely, or we could, excuse me, we could also do a live filming as well in the facilities. I think that would also be pretty cool. I hadn't thought of doing that before, so that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I will be there. Um, you touched base on this previously, but the question is, are there any products that aren't doing as well as others?
Within the range?
Yeah.
Not really. I think our benefit is that we do have the two ranges. So we have the multi-packs and we have the single bars. So they actually, the different products actually do well in different places. And what's great is that actually sometimes stores don't want to take the multi-packs because they don't have a kids area, or they don't see that, you know, that kids is a big kind of there's just not that many people shopping with kids. So then these tend to do really, really well. And then we also have these, we actually have a couple of workplaces that buy these as well, big corporate offices that have these in the you know, in the lunchroom or whatever. So I think sometimes it just depends on who the demographic is and what the store is. So no, that they all do pretty well. I mean, I think our best selling is probably this one, which is actually not in Woolworths yet. So this is our chia cluster. So this is
Yeah.
the product that's like, it's like a granola cluster. And again, it's so delicious. It's really just oats, coconut, flaxseed, chia, maple syrup, coconut oil, and cinnamon, and that's it. So it's super clean, really delicious. It's got a sweetness to it without being over sweet. This one is not in Woolworths yet. So that's probably our best selling product. But otherwise, like I said, it really varies on where they're being sold.
Yeah, awesome. Next question. Why would you do equity crowdfunding instead of a business loan or debt financing or any other sources of capital that you have available?
Yeah, great question. I love this question. And I think equity crowdfunding can be a little confusing for people. They're sort of like, I don't understand. Or sometimes you see crowdfunding. I knew crowdfunding as sort of, where people pre-bought a product. So before a product had launched, they're launching a new sweater or bra or whatever. I'm going to pre-buy it. And then companies use those funds to buy the product to fund the production. So this is something, again, that it was quite new to me this year, but I realized at the end of last year, once we were kind of in Woolworths and things were moving very quickly, that I would need some money into the business just to really accelerate that growth, and my ambitions to go into other retailers quite quickly, and knew that that would be limited with not having any money in the business. So I did actually start looking at so I'm cheating on Birchal, but I had started looking at angel investors. And then during that process, actually, I was actually doing a pitch, somebody actually said to me, have you looked at Birchal and equity crowdfunding? And so when I started looking into it, I just thought it was absolutely perfect for Isaac Snacks. So we are looking for not just anyone to invest, but we're looking for people that believe in what we're doing. So we do really want to change the landscape of the way that our children are eating. We want to really bring awareness around that we can't just give them whatever and it's not going to make any difference. Like, we are really trying to make a change in the category, so really build that awareness. And I think having a community of people, whether it be mums or dads or just people that are aware of the issue, that are on board with that, want to also make a difference, I think the value of that is so amazing. It's as valuable as the money into the business. And I think having the conversations that I've had over the last couple of weeks with a lot of people who have expressed interest has really shown that people are sharing those same values and really also want to make a change. So I'm just so excited to have a community on board that are invested in the business, not just from a money and a share point of view, but also in terms of making change.
I think you nailed that very well from the company's perspective, talking about a little bit of the benefits of doing this type of raise. But for investors as well, I want to highlight that to be an angel investor, you need to be a wholesale investor. So you have to meet some criteria, which most people don't. But we believe that everyone should have an opportunity to invest in business that they like and they support. And even if you can invest $500, you can be part of this community. So yeah, in the traditional angel investment, normally they put a minimum check size. It can be $100,000. It's not for everyone. So I think this helps you democratize the entire space as well. So gives opportunities to us the chance to invest in companies like Isaac Snacks.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think, I started this business because I wanted to build something for myself as well as a mum. Like, I didn't really want to work for anyone else anymore. And I wanted to build something that was different. And it's been bloody hard, like it really has. But I think to be able to give other mums, not just mums, but anyone a chance to actually be part of something that's making a difference and that's growing and changing the category and challenging the kind of Nestle's and the Danones and, like trying to do something different and take it on. And I think, giving other people that opportunity as well to come on board this journey and, hopefully at the end of it benefit, is I think, like you said, is actually such an amazing opportunity. And I think it's fantastic that Birchal does this. Yeah.
Awesome. Danny's asking, what is your time frame for this plan? So I think you can touch base on what do you want to do first. So you can say raising this money's in the bank. This is the first thing that I'm going to do.
Yes, great question. So I think you know, the kind of primary focus is within that store distribution, so the expansion of our footprint with Australia. That's kind of the priority. So you know, there is a few opportunities that are coming up in terms of the Woolworths range review, and then also, you know, the other major grocery retailer as well. There are some opportunities that are there, and so I think that will be the immediate priority, is to kind of really expand as much as we can, and keep that momentum going. So in terms of getting our new products in and just getting into new stores as well, we are distributed through distributors to health food stores at the moment. But again, we kind of want to have a look at what that looks like in terms of how we're getting to other format stores, because it's not just about grocery. Like we want to be in other, you know, make sure that we're in there, all the health food stores across the whole state. I talked a little about convenience options, so that will be the priority, and utilizing this money in terms of resource as well to kind of access those different channels. Because at the moment I just do the sales myself, so we'll need additional resource to manage that. So that will be the primary focus. But then alongside that, it will be around the brand building. So we want to put a lot of this money into the, not just direct to consumer, but just also into, you know, really building our community and that awareness around our products as much as possible. So they'll kind of go hand in hand, but the priority will be within that retail footprint, but then also building the brand alongside it.
Beautiful. We just had an investor confirming I live in New South Wales, so a video of a production line would be great. So good to know. Next question.
With me in a hairnet and Layla in a hairnet.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Next question. Possible to know manufacturing costs, expenses, and profits? What numbers are expected in the coming years? I probably can answer that for you. We have a few limitations of what we can and cannot say in this type of raise. But before you invest, you're going to have access to a document called the offer document. The Laura loves it, has been working on it for the past few weeks, and is a very complete document. All the data that you need in order to make an investment decision is going to be there. We review the entire documentation with our legal team. So I highly recommend you to have a look at that before investing. That is going to be available to you on Tuesday at 12 if you have expressed interest. So if you haven't, I'm going to send you all the link right after this, and I highly recommend you to just go ahead, express interest in the campaign so you can invest before anyone else in the market. Anything else that you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think Layla's right. All the financials that we can release will be in there. So you'll be able to see our gross margin percentage for the last 2 years. And so I think what I'll comment on that is, you know, we're unfortunately not a business where we're operating on a kind of, you know, 80% you know, margin. Like this is kind of food and grocery, but we're obviously are a volume business, and our margins are healthy. We do expect with scale for those margins to increase. I probably again can't talk too much about the specifics of that, but the aim is with any business, particularly an FMCG business, as we are scaling, and we want to maintain everything in Australia as well. So everything will be kept Australian made. That's really important to us. But I think what's also important is as we do scale and our volumes increase, that margin does improve. So even though you'll see the gross margin now, as our revenue does quickly, we do expect quickly to scale with the expansion of our retail footprint, that gross margin will improve as well.
Awesome, good point. Next question is, what amount of equity are you offering for the investment? I can probably answer that as well. We're going to set a minimum and a maximum target. So it obviously depends on that. In the offer document, you have both situations. So if we just raise the minimum target, this is how much equity we're giving away. If we raise the maximum target, this is how much equity. So let us know if you have any questions on that on Tuesday. This is going to be live. If you have any questions about Birchal or the platform, we have a live chat that people are going to be helping you in real time. Or if it's anything regarding the company, Laura, what is the best way to talk to you?
Yeah, probably either email or also phone as well. So I think if you make sure you've expressed interest, and then I'll be sending an email through with all my details on. And so you're welcome to give me a call or just email Laura@isaacsnacks.com.
Perfect. Next question, where would this campaign close to investors? So I can answer that. Let me open my calendar. So we are opening on the 21st and we are closing the campaign on the 6th. What I want to mention is that if you invest in the first 2 days, you have delayed payment terms. So you don't have to pay as soon as you invest, you just pay on the 6th. However, if you invest after this first 2 days, as soon as you invest, you pay for the investment as well. And
we got some exciting rewards coming as well for the first 2 days.
that will be my next question. So are you offering rewards?
Yes, we are. So we've got a really exciting reward for the first 2 days. We've got these, which aren't actually here yet. They're coming on Monday, but these amazing limited edition Isaac Snacks bento lunch boxes coming. So actually, to be fair, we're doing a pink sparkle for girls and we're doing a blue truck one for boys, and they are amazing. I'm so excited to get my hands on them and start using them. So we're doing that for the first 48 hours. Plus we're doing levels of discount on the website and then gift cards as well. So there'll be a tiered level of investor rewards, which yes, but just the lunchbox, the bento lunchboxes for the first 2 days.
Beautiful. We just had a question, what payment types are accepted? So I'm sending you a message with all the payments and how to make a payment, but it's quite easy on the website. Done. Laura, how can people support you? If obviously they've been watching the webinar, they want to know more about you. Apart from investing on the business, which is obviously the primary goal, how else they can support you?
Do you mean as in the business ongoing? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we talked about earlier, we're doing this investment round to have people on board that love the brand and that are excited to be part of the journey. So we want to hear from our investors as well. So we want your support in the business and we want your input in terms of the journey. So we're going to be creating a shareholder community group following the raise, where we're going to be getting input in terms of new products, strategic direction of the business, where we're going to be launching different exclusive discounts. So we really want that communication from the shareholders to be as much as possible and to really get engaged and supporting the business, because yeah, it's our community and the people that are buying the products that are so important in telling us the direction to go in. So that will be a big part of supporting the business ongoing, and yeah, is a really exciting element of the raise.
Thank you so much. That brings us to the end of this session. Thanks everyone for joining. I hope this was helpful. And thank you, Laura, for taking time off your very busy schedule to talk to us.
So nice. Thank you, Layla. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Isaac's next expression of interest is open now, and you get more information on the company, priority investment, special conditions to invest, and the rewards that Laura is preparing for you. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the day.
Wonderful. Thanks, Layla.